Welcome back. We're reading the Quran, and we're on Surah 43, and a new section says Zukhruf, or gold adornments. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ha-Mim. By the book that makes things clear, we have made it a Quran in Arabic, that ye may be able to understand and learn wisdom. And verily, it is in the mother of the book, in our presence, high in dignity, full of wisdom. Shall we then take away the message from you and repel you, for that ye are a people transgressing beyond bounds? But how many were the prophets we sent amongst the people of old? And never came there a prophet to them, but they mocked him. So like every prophet was mocked. So we destroyed them, stronger in power than these, and thus has passed on a parable of the peoples of old. If thou were to question them, who created the heavens and the earth, they would be sure to reply, they were created by him, the exalted in power, full of knowledge. Yea, the same that has made for you the earth like a carpet spread out, and has made for you roads and channels therein, in order that ye may find guidance on the way. The roads that sends down from time to time rain from the sky in due measure, and we raise to life therewith a land that is dead. Even so will ye be raised from the dead. That has created pairs in all things, and has made for you ships and cattle on which ye ride, in order that ye may sit firm and square on their backs, and when so seated ye may celebrate the kind favor of your Lord, and say, Glory to him who has subjected these to our use, for we could never have accomplished this by ourselves. It's true, donkeys, Clydesdale horses, llamas, they are very helpful in that. Ox especially. And to our Lord surely must we turn back, yet they attribute to some of his servants a share with him in his Godhead. Truly is a man a blasphemous ingrate avowed. Blasphemous ingrate avowed. It's a hard truth, but it's not wrong. What has he taken? Daughters out of what he himself creates, and granted to you sons for choice? When news is brought to one of them of the birth of what he sets up as a likeness to Allah most gracious, his face darkens, and he is filled with inward grief. Is then one brought up among trinkets, and unable to give a clear account in a dispute, to be associated with Allah? And they make into female angels who themselves serve Allah. Did they witness their creation, their evidence will be recorded, and they will be called to account. Ah, they say, if it had been the will of Allah most gracious, we should not have worshipped such deities, of that they have no knowledge. They do nothing but lie. What? Have we given them a book before this, to which they are holding fast? Nay, they say, we found our fathers following a religion, and we do guide ourselves by their footsteps. Just in the same way, whenever we sent a warner before thee to any people, the wealthy ones among them said, we found our fathers following a certain religion, and we will certainly follow in their footsteps. He said, What? Even if I brought you better guidance than that which ye found your fathers following? They said, For us, we deny that ye prophets are sent on a mission at all. So saucy. So we exacted retribution from them. Now see what was the end of those who rejected truth. Behold, Abraham said to his father and his people, I do indeed clear myself of what ye worship. I worship only him who made me, and he will certainly guide me. And he left it as a word to endure among those who came after him, that they may turn back to Allah. Yea, I have given the good things of this life to these men and their fathers, until the truth has come to them, and an apostle making things clear. But when the truth came to them, they said, This is sorcery, and we do reject it. Also, they say, why is not this Quran sent down to some leading man in either of the two chief cities? It is they who would portion out the mercy of thy Lord. It is we who portion out between them their livelihood in the life of this world, and we raise some of them above other ranks, so that some may command work from others. Wow, why would... Honestly, there's not a lot of leaders of many nations that, even today, maybe they would even get spoken to by God, right? So, they keep thinking that elite bloodlines equals holiness. There can be holy people just of the common people. But the mercy of thy Lord is better than the wealth which they amass. Think about that. Having mercy instead of having a hoarded amount of wealth. Right? That's interesting. And were it not that all men might become of one evil way of life, we would provide for everyone that blasphemes against Allah most gracious silver roofs for their houses and silver stairways on which to go up, and silver doors to their houses and thrones of silver on which they could recline, and also adornments of gold. But all this were nothing but conveniences of the present life. The hereafter in the sight of thy Lord is for the righteous. If anyone withdraws himself from remembrance of Allah most gracious, we appoint for him an evil one, to be an intimate companion to him. Oh, this is okay. Okay, listen. So if you pull back in your remembering and, worshipping of Allah, right? They're going to assign to you an evil companion. What? There's like this cartoon called Disenchantment, and she has B is her name, and she has a demon companion that was assigned to her called Lucy, and he's constantly testing her and getting into her shenanigans. It's a comedy, kind of like The Simpsons or like South Park. It's a parody, right? But if you think about it, even in a comedic sense, it's still scary, but in this way, it's even more scary, right? Such evil ones really hinder them from the path, but they think that they are being guided aright. Whew. You see, this makes me think of like toxic people in your life. Maybe they were assigned to you, right? And they're gonna keep being there if you don't try to get on the right path. Interesting. It's almost like it's telling you, when there's an overabundance of super toxic people in your life, maybe they were assigned there to remind you of like what's you should be focusing on, and that it's okay to cut certain toxic people out of your life. At length, when such a one comes to us, he says to his evil companion, would that between me and thee were the distance of the east and west. Ah, evil is the companion indeed. When ye have done wrong, it will avail you nothing. That day that ye shall be partners in punishment. Canst thou then make the deaf to hear, or give direction to the blind, or to such as wander in manifest error? And if we take thee away, shall we be sure to exact retribution from them, or we shall show thee that accomplice which we have promised them? For verily we shall prevail over them. So hold thou fast to revelation sent down to thee. Verily thou art on a straight way. The Qur'an is indeed the message for thee and for thy people, and soon shall ye all be brought to account. And question thou our apostles whom we sent before thee? Did we appoint any deities other than Allah, most gracious, to be worshipped? We did send Moses aforetime with our signs to Pharaoh and his chiefs. He said, I am an apostle of the Lord of the worlds. But when he came to them with our signs, behold, they ridiculed them. Pharaoh and his chiefs, man. Man, imagine being a fly on a wall during that time. Oh, I hope one day we get to see that. We showed them sign after sign, each greater than its fellow, and we seized them with punishment, in order that they might turn to us. You see what this is so interesting? Is you're gonna get punished so that you can turn to the Creator, right? such an interesting concept. Like I said, it's so hard when you think about, like, when something bad happens, you think, oh, it's this, demons or a witchcraft or the devil or whom whatever negative energy force is like toying with me, how like a cat toys with a mouse, and I don't have any protection, you can think. But it's really interesting, like I've said 1,000 times, though, when you think that it's punishment, it's gonna help humble you, soften your heart, and make you turn to the Creator and test you if you turn to them, or are you gonna turn to the earthly forces which don't really have any true eternal power over you. It's a very interesting way to think. And they said, O thou sorcerer, invoke thy Lord for us according to his covenant with thee, for we shall truly accept guidance. But when we removed the penalty from them, behold, they broke their word. You see, you gotta keep your word. Here it's noticing that, like, they broke their word. They said once the penalty was removed, and they were then trusted to act accordingly to the agreement that they said they were going to do, they didn't do it. They broke their word. So it's basically saying, too, in the way I'm interpreting it, is that keeping an oath is something holy in and of itself. And Pharaoh proclaimed among his people, saying, O my people, does not the dominion of Egypt belong to me? Witness these streams flowing underneath my palace. What see ye not then? Am I not better than this Moses, who is contemptible wretch and can scarcely express himself clearly? Then why are not gold bracelets bestowed on him? Or why come not with him angels accompanying him in the procession? You see that? The bracelets is like the vanity and the glitz and the glam, and people think that authority and value come from those trinkets, which they don't. Wow. Thus did he make fools of his people, and they obeyed him. Truly were they a people rebellious against Allah. When at length they provoked us, we exacted retribution from them, and we drowned them all. And we made them a people of the past, and an example to later ages. When Jesus the son of Mary is held up as an example, behold, thy people raise a clamor thereat in ridicule. And they say, Are our gods best, or he? This they set forth to thee, only by way of disputation. Yea, they are a contentious people. He was no more than a servant. We granted our favor to him, and we made him an example to the children of Israel. And if it were our will, we could make angels from amongst you, succeeding each other on the earth. Oh, they could have replaced you with angels, fam. Oh, I like this. It's good.